Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be going over Blizzcon and kind of what I expect to go on there, and just kind of discussing my general thoughts on what has kind of transpired in the last couple days surrounding Diablo and Blizzcon and all that. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so my channel mainly revolves around Diablo 3. I try to branch out and cover other things, but the bread and butter of my channel is Diablo 3. So obviously I have wanted to do a video about Diablo and BlizzCon and all that, but I have purposely held back because of what has happened in the last couple days. In the back of my mind, I kind of knew it was going to happen. By some weird way, I kind of had a feeling this was coming. And what I mean by that is Blizzard kind of took a stance of, hey, everybody, like, calm down, don't get so hyped. And I'll pull that up here. Basically what they're doing is these are exciting times. We currently have multiple teams working on different Diablo projects, and we can't wait to tell you all about them. ... when the time is right. Guys, they're saying, don't get too hyped about BlizzCon. Things are coming, but we're not going to be telling you about all of it at BlizzCon. And, some other things, they say, we appreciate your patience, we're working tirelessly, and while we won't be ready to announce all of our projects, we do intend to share some Diablo-related news with you at the show. So, they're not even saying we're going to share these projects with you. They're saying we intend to share some Diablo-related news. So, I knew this would happen because Blizzard released that video with the community manager, I think goes by Nevelistis, and they had her in front of a camera saying, the forges of Diablo are burning hot here at Blizzard. We've got epic projects coming for you. And we're going to be giving you so much later this year. So everybody dives in. Oh my gosh, they're going to announce Diablo 4 at BlizzCon. Boom, everybody jumps to that. and I knew that was going to happen based on that. And honestly, I didn't think that was crazy because Diablo 3 came out in 2012. It is 2018. It's been 6 years. So even if they announce it at BlizzCon, it's not going to come out for another year or two. So you're looking at 7 or 8 years in between games. I mean, the timing is kind of lining up for Diablo 4 to get announced. Now, if we look at the history of the Diablo series, we've got 96 was Diablo 1, and then the expansion right after that the next year. Then it was only 4 years in between Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, but times are much different now. And then only that year for the expansion for Diablo 2. Then that long break, 11 years, or no, 12 years. 12 years in between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. And then 2 years for Reaper of Souls, and then a big break since then, since any major content for Diablo 3. I think this timetable is a little bit more of the realistic one nowadays. I think 12 years is super long, but, it's been 6 years, so I expect something coming soon, just not at BlizzCon this year. And if we look at Overwatch, they announced Overwatch at BlizzCon 2014. So, like in November 2014. The playable beta came out about exactly a year later. I think it was like October 2015. And then the game released to the public about exactly 6 months after that, in May of 2016. So kind of, I think that's a pretty comparable timetable that we would be looking at for Diablo. So if they did announce Diablo 4 at BlizzCon this year, we would probably be getting a playable beta within the next year, like within the next 12 months. And it seems like from what we're hearing from Blizzard is they're not ready for that. They're not ready to take that step. And instead of having everybody freak out and start booing them off the stage at BlizzCon, they're kind of putting some feelers out there to say, hey guys, calm down a little bit. We are working on things that we can't tell you about right now, or at least we're not willing to tell you about right now. But it is coming, we're just not going to tell you about it at BlizzCon, so don't yell at us when BlizzCon happens. I think this is a little bit of a mismanagement by Blizzard, in my opinion. First of all, I love Blizzard. They have given me countless hours of entertainment. I have met friends because of their games. They don't owe me anything. Like, if they make Diablo 4, great. I'll play the hell out of it, and I'll probably buy multiple copies, and I'll buy collector's edition, all that. But they don't, like, we have to remember, they don't owe it to us. If they do it, great. But it's not like we pre-ordered Diablo 4 and paid for it in advance, like it's a Kickstarter or something. Like, they don't owe us that game. So, kind of the strategy here in Blizzard's minds is we have to remember they are a business. They have shareholders. They have investors. Their main priority is to make a profit. Now, obviously, as a product of that, you have to make a good game to generate a good product. So we kind of benefit as gamers by them trying to make money. We get a good game. It's kind of the balancing act that goes on. But the reason I see a lot of people saying, like, why can't they just at least tell us, like, yes, we are working on Diablo 4. It's probably coming out in 2020. Like, why can't they just give us that? Why can't they give us something, even if it's 2022? Just give us an inkling of what's happening. And the reasoning is, if you're on the marketing team for Blizzard, you don't want to announce something and then have all the hype of it die down. It's gonna hurt your sales a little bit. Even if it's only a little bit, it is gonna hurt your sales a little bit. And their goal is to sell as many copies as possible. So, like, right now, the Diablo community is kind of like a volcano that's just, like, waiting to erupt. It's just sitting here shaking. It's heating up. And when Blizzard announces Diablo 4, they released, like, this awesome cinematic and a few minutes of gameplay, and then it flashes across the screen, boom, Diablo 4. Everyone's going to be freaking out, and that volcano that is the Diablo community is going to burst. It's going to explode. And you want to release your game when that explosion is up here. You don't want to wait until the explosion comes down and the lava washes away and you just have a volcano again. You want to release your game right here at the tip of that explosion. You don't want to wait 2 or 3 years after that announcement, if at all possible, because times are different now. It's not like 10 years ago. They announced StarCraft 2 in, I think it was 2007, and StarCraft 2 came out in like 2010. So there was like 2.5, 3 years in between time. But just in the last 10 years, I mean, look at the world is so much faster now. People lose their attention spans so much faster now because there's so much more competition. I mean, back in 2007, I didn't even have a smartphone. Like, I mean, that's how much different nowadays is. Gaming wasn't about free-to-play, microtransactions, loot boxes. That stuff was coming, but it wasn't, you know, there wasn't Twitter, and Reddit wasn't as popular. I think Twitter may have just come out, but it wasn't nowhere near what it is today. The world moves at a much faster pace now. So, excuse me. So Blizzard needs to, I think the timetable that Overwatch had is a lot closer to what we're going to get with Diablo 4 or Diablo Next, whatever that next installment of Diablo is, because they don't want to announce it too far in advance and have the hype die down. They want to get everybody super hyped and then within like 6 months to a year release the game while everybody is still hyped. You don't want to wait a while and let that subside. But yeah, I do think Blizzard kind of misplayed their hand here a little bit. When you're as big of a company as Blizzard with as many fans as they have, you have to understand when you release a video like they released, you have to understand what that's going to mean. Like, people are going to think, oh my gosh, it's Diablo 4. Because it's been a long time since there's been new content for Diablo 3. So people think that next big project is Diablo 4. And when you say later this year, you're going to know all about it. What's later this year? BlizzCon. So people are going to connect BlizzCon, Diablo 4. Oh my gosh, it's happening. And so if Blizzard knew back then that it wasn't going to happen, it was kind of a mismanagement on their part. But another possibility I could see being realistic is that Blizzard thought they were going to announce Diablo 4 at BlizzCon, and they had a setback. They they're behind schedule on the beta, they're behind schedule on something, and they had a last minute setback here in the last couple weeks that made them go, okay, we need to get out ahead of this thing, and we need to tell everybody to calm down and just try to quell the PR nightmare as much as we can. And that's possible. I don't know. I don't work for Blizzard. That's possible. I don't think that's likely. I think, you know, back then when they released that video, they should have been far enough in the process to know that they were going to get to this point successfully with something to show about Diablo 4 or not. That's just my opinion. But it's one of those two things. It's Blizzard misplaying their hand in relation to interacting with the fans, or something came up last minute and kind of changed Blizzard's perception on what they're going to be able to do at BlizzCon. It was one of those two things. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of have a casual discussion about BlizzCon and what to expect. So in closing here, just try to keep some perspective and understand that you're probably not getting a big announcement at BlizzCon this year. I do think in 2019 we will get Diablo 4 announced, but I don't think it's coming this year. And also remember not to rage at Blizzard employees, you know, or, you know, tweet at them, yelling at them on Reddit or Twitter or something. It's not their fault. Like, I'm sure that they're doing their best and they're trying to make the game that everybody wants to play. So, you know, don't be booing Blizzard and raging at them. I'm sure that they're trying to give us a good game. Just, you know, in closing, try to keep a perspective on this thing and let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear what everybody thinks about this. As always, have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Peace.